Alright, so I've already done a bacon video, but it was a while ago, so I thought I would do an updated version for doing some delicious bacon. I also recently bought a whole hog, already butchered, and it came with 2 huge sides of pork belly, so got to do something with them. I took this one, cut it in half. I'm going to have another video making some delicious pork belly on the smoker with that half, but this half we're making bacon. Very simple. So obviously we're going to start off with a nice piece of pork belly here. Now you're going to want to find a nice piece of pork belly. Usually I look for one that's got a good mix of meat and fat. With bacon, it's not too big a deal because the fat still comes out delicious. So next important thing you're going to want to do is make sure you know the weight of your pork belly, because the weight is going to dictate how much of the cure you're going to want to use. So get into the cure here. So we're going to start off with some kosher salt, and the kosher salt's going to be 2.5% by weight compared to this. I had a 10-pound pork belly cut in half, so I'm guesstimating 5 pounds for this. Translate that to grams, it was around 2,300 grams, somewhere there, and this ended up being 56 grams of salt for the weight, and that's 2.5% for salt. You want 1.5% of sugar in grams compared. So this ended up being 34 grams of sugar. You can use brown sugar. I didn't even have regular sugar, so I'm using this date sugar. I don't even know why we have this date sugar here, but I'm glad we did, because I don't know how, but I have no sugar in my house. So we're going to use date sugar. Use brown sugar, use regular sugar. Either way, it's fine. I had confectioner sugar, but I thought that was going to be a little much. So I'm just going to break apart this date sugar, and we'll see how it comes out. I was debating on making a recipe with no sugar at all, but most of the recipes I see have sugar, so I'm going to stick with that. And the only reason I didn't want to use sugar is because I use my cast iron pan to cook bacon. I usually don't have an issue, but you know, when you cook bacon, it gets all sticky and it's just kind of a pain to clean up. So I figured if I didn't have sugar, it'd be a little bit better. But most bacon's gonna have sugar, and it's fine. I'm just being a sissy with cleaning my pan. So then that's pretty much it. Obviously you can go different routes with this. I've seen people put seasoning in here, pepper, other sort of seasonings. I just keep it basic for this, because if I want to do black pepper, I crust it before I smoke it when it's done. So I just want to get a nice cure on that. The next thing you're going to want to use is some curing salt. Pink salt is usually what you see, not Himalayan pink salt, but the pink curing salt. I got this stuff. It's from the Sausage Works Eco Cure. It's supposed to be a more natural cure. It's got salt, fruit extracts, natural spice extracts. So instead of using the nitrate or nitrites, not sure, always forget which it is, using that stuff. And on there it tells you 1.6 ounces per 10 pounds of meat. So I've got 0.8 ounces of this Eco Cure. Add that in there. Mix it up. And it says add this last. Now, last time I made a video doing bacon, I did like a maple syrup, like slurry to do it with. So this time I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead with this dry stuff, see how it comes out. So once it's all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead, dump some of this on here. I don't know what's in that Eco Cure, but it smells pretty good, unless it's that date sugar. I don't know. Something in here smells good. Use about half. Okay, then we'll flip it over. We're going to lose some, so then we'll put the rest on the top here. Kind of rub it around. Make sure it's all coated. Pat it in. Want to get it to stick. We'll pick it up. Let this come off. Yeah, we still got some. I'm going to get the sides. Just get this nice and coated. Rub it around there. Want to make sure we get all this cure. Whatever's left, I'm just going to dump it in the bag. So, got myself vacuum seal bag. So as you can tell, this is a dry cure. You can do a wet cure with bacon. I have not done that. It just takes up too much space for me. I like using a bag. Makes it a little easier. So I'm going to try and get this in here. And that perfectly fits in there. There's not much cure on here, so I think we got most of it. Like I said, you could throw this in a Ziploc bag, you'd be totally fine. But I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum seal this with my chamber vac. WEVAC chamber vac, awesome product. Check it out for sure. All right, pork belly is all vacuum sealed up. Now we just gotta let it sit, let it cure 7 to 14 days. So I'm gonna check it at 7. If it looks good, then I'll pull it out and we'll finish up the bacon. Leave it in your fridge, say every day or so. Go ahead and flip it over because there's a lot of moisture is gonna come out of here. It's gonna start to pool in the bottom. So you're gonna wanna constantly keep flipping it, mixing it up to get that cure all over this, get a nice even cure on each side. So it's a plan. In the fridge for 7 to 14 days. Now, you're not gonna have to wait that long. So let's jump ahead, get it out, let you know how long it cured for, and we are going to smoke some delicious bacon. All right guys, so it's been 2 weeks on the cure of the pork belly. You can get away with 7 days, that's fine. I've just let it go an extra week because I was busy last weekend and I wanted to make sure I got some good penetration of that cure. But with a pork belly, it's pretty thin and I've never had an issue with just curing 7 days. So, but this is a 14-day cure and you can see how much darker this meat got. That's what's gonna happen when you cure the pork or really any meat. So I took it out. You want to rinse it off thoroughly, get all that curing seasoning off there, and then pat it dry. And then if you want to add seasoning, this is where you're going to add it. If you're looking for a cracked black pepper bacon, go ahead and just coat this thing with some pepper. I've done that before. It comes out pretty good. But for this one, I'm just going plain, just make some delicious bacon. So this is pretty much it. Now you're going to want to get your smoker set up and you want it at a low temperature. I'm going to be running my Z-Grill's pellet cooker, which is a fantastic pellet cooker, at 180 degrees. I can go a little lower, but I like 180 degrees for when I'm doing bacon. You just don't want it to get too hot. You really want to slowly cook this, and we're going to bring it up to around 150, 160 degrees. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead outside and we're going to throw this on the pellet cooker. All right, so here we are at the Z-Grills. Like I said, fantastic pellet cooker. I had it set for 180. It was running a little hot. I noticed at startup sometimes the temp gets a little hot, then it steadies down. So I turned it down to 160 temporarily. Then once it steadies out, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back up to 180 and keep it consistently there. Let's go ahead and open this up. And pretty simple. You just throw our pork belly right on there like that. Now we'll shut it, let it smoke, and just make sure you keep that consistent temp of about 180 degrees or a little bit lower. All right, so I also forgot I want to add my temperature probe into the pork belly so I can check on temp. Just want to be able to monitor this to see where we're at. So let's let it cook. All right, so the pork belly is on the smoker. Like I said, I have it set to 160 degrees right now, and I was actually thinking I'm probably going to leave it at 160 for maybe the first hour. Then after that, I'll bump it up to 180, just because we're trying to get to 160 degrees. So if you leave it at 160 the whole time, it's really going to take a long time to get it up to 160. But I'm going to leave it at 160 for about an hour in the beginning just to get a lot of nice smoke flavor on it. Slowly let it come up to temp. Then I'll bump it to 180 and finish it off. And like I said, I'm looking to get it to around 150, 160 degrees. This should take probably 2 to 3 hours. So that is pretty much it for the bacon. Very simple, just takes a long time for the curing process, but everything else is pretty straightforward. So just gonna let this thing cook till it's finished, but let's jump ahead, check out this bacon, see if it's finished. All right, it has been a total of 4 hours on the bacon. See how nice this is looking. We are at 152 degrees, so that is enough. I'm gonna go ahead, pull this off, and what I'm going to do is let it cool down a bit, then I will throw it in my fridge to cool it off, and it's gonna make it easier to slice. So I'm gonna get this off, let it get chilled, and then I will see you to slice it up. All right, so bacon has chilled. It is nice and cold. I threw it in my fridge for a while. This is gonna make it a lot easier to slice up. This thing smells delicious. Obviously, it smells like a big slab of bacon. Now you want to cook it nice and slow at a low temperature because you don't really want this fat to render down too much. And I think I did a pretty good job of keeping that heat down. I actually ran my pellet cooker around 175 for most of it, but I'm happy with how this came out. And like I said, if you want to dress this up a little bit, like I said, with cracked black pepper or whatever kind of seasoning, you can go ahead and throw that on before you cook it. Always a great option. In the past, I've thrown maple syrup in my cure, which is great, but for this, I just want to do a plain Jane bacon slab. So enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and slice it up and see how these came out. All right, so you can slice this really any way you want. You can probably see here, this is the traditional look of a slice of bacon you'll get. So if you want those traditional slices, just come here, take your slices off this way. What I'm going to do on this is I'm going to slice it this way, because you can see it's a lot thinner on the side. So I want shorter slices of bacon instead of those long slices. Now if you have a deli slicer, it's a great option for slicing, or just get yourself a nice sharp slicing knife and this will make good work. And the best thing about homemade bacon is you can cut this as thick as you want. You can make some super thick pieces. That comes out great, awesome for BLTs. First thing I like to do is kind of square off the end so I can get nice slices. And you can see that nice looking bacon right there. And for something like this, I'll cube it up and use it in another dish in little pieces, like a maybe shrimp and grits, these little bacon pieces, so that'll be perfect for that. Now just start making your slices, and it's up to you how thick or thin you want to go. I'm going to show you the thickness I like. I like something about that thick. It's thicker than traditional bacon. When you start to cook this, it will get thinner. So this is a good solid slice for me. And that's basically it. Just go through slowly. A knife works fine, so if you don't have a deli slicer. I actually have a deli slicer, but I prefer doing this by hand. You could also go a little thicker, something like this. This is also a good option. Something like this or a little thicker would be perfect for BLTs. If you go a little thicker, it's kind of harder to cook them through, so this is a good slice for a BLT I like right here. That's it for bacon. Super easy. Check out these delicious slices of bacon. I'm telling you, when you start making homemade bacon, you will not want to go back to the store-bought stuff. This stuff is fantastic. Can't wait to cook some of this up with some eggs or something. Probably end up making BLTs first. But that is how you make some easy homemade bacon. I'm telling you guys, definitely give this a shot. There's really not much to it. You just got to get that curing salt. Like I said, you can use the pink salt, or like I use this sausage maker Eco Cure #1. I'll put a link to this down in the description if you're interested. It seemed to work pretty good. It's supposed to be all natural. Definitely like using this. Give this a shot. But I know you can also use a celery powder as well, or just get the regular pink curing salt, and that won't be an issue either. And the reason you want to use the cure is because we're cooking this at such a low temperature. You're going to be in that danger zone, which is between 40 degrees and 140 degrees. You don't want the meat in that range for, I think, 2 hours, I believe they say. So we're going to exceed that when we're cooking it, so that's why you need the cure. The cure keeps it from getting bacteria during that danger zone. But like I said, this is awesome. Once you try doing homemade bacon, again, you're not going to want to go back to the store. One slab, this is going to make a bunch of bacon. Throw a bunch of slices, vacuum seal them, freeze them, give them away to friends and family. I'll tell you this right now, with the holidays coming up, awesome gift idea. Just give them a pack of homemade bacon. That is probably better than any gift you can give someone. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe over here. I'll leave a couple videos over here for you to watch. I'll do the Z Grills review video, and then I will do the other bacon video I did, which is alternative bacon. Pork jowl, pork loin, and pork butt bacon. That's a good video as well if you want something different than regular bacon. But most importantly, get out there and smoke something good.